What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Lunch with the Clydesdale. I wasn't planning on doing a show today because I had my procedure this morning and didn't know how I would feel afterwards or how it would go or when I would get home. But things worked out where I was able to jump on, give you guys a little update as to how it went. But here we are. So, I got up this morning about 6 a.m. to about an inch of snow here in Ohio. Had to clear off the car, do all that stuff to get ready to head downtown to have the procedure done at Grant Hospital in Columbus. We live about 10 miles north, maybe 12 miles north of downtown Columbus. So I had to clear off the car, get all that stuff ready, and then drive through morning rush hour traffic, which wasn't too bad considering it was just a holiday a couple days ago. So a lot of people are still off, but made it down there, got all checked in, and went in, went through all the pre-op process, got wheeled in. And then before they could shock my heart back into rhythm, they had to check with a scope my heart and my lungs to make sure there were no blood clots in either one of those organs before they shocked me. And so they make you gargle with this stuff that's like Smucker's jelly, but like a cotton ball flavor. How you can gargle a jelly like that, I mean, I'm trying to move it around my mouth and doing all this stuff. And then you, after like 15 or 20 seconds, you swallow it and it numbs like everything in your mouth and down your throat. So then they put the scope down. They put me under at that point after I did the gel. And then they put the scope down, check my heart, check my lungs. And if everything's okay, then they shock me. Everything looked good in the heart. And actually the heart looked better than it did last February when I had this done before. And then there was some leakage around one of the valves. And the cardiologist did not detect any of that this time, which was really cool. And then they had to shock me twice before my heart went back into sinus rhythm, which is what happened last year. They used a lower voltage and then had to up the voltage, hit it again, and then I went back into sinus rhythm. And that's where I am right now. And now I'm starting a new medication, which is an arrhythmia medicine that is supposed to help me keep my heart in sinus rhythm going forward. Now it's about 40% successful. There is no cure for AFib. And then if that doesn't work, then the next step is to do an ablation of the heart. And that is about 70% successful. And then after that, it's like the pacemaker route, things like that. So we're hoping that the medicine works. It's a 4 out of 10. It works. Hopefully I'm one of those 4. That's what we're looking for. So had that all done this morning, got home about 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And then 45 minutes later, I said, hey, let me go to chat with my friends, Ken and Jeff and Corey, and see what they're up to and let them know how everything went. So again, wasn't planning on doing a show today, but here we are. And I can already feel a difference in the way my body is working. The thing with AFib is you can feel the flutters at times, and like all that's gone. The only side effect right now is a sore throat from the scope and a burn mark on my chest and back from the pads that they used to shock me. So going to put some aloe on that. Hopefully that heals in the next 24 hours. And then we'll be moving on from that. So Ken, using leftover Christmas ham bone, making split pea and ham soup for lunch today on this 9-degree Minnesota day. Yeah, it's about 27 here in Columbus, but we have about an inch and a half of snow, and they're calling for a lot more before the weekend's over. And actually, they're calling for a ton the night before my wife's knee replacement surgery. So we do not want that delayed. Just praying that that does not happen. But that is supposed to roll in Sunday evening into Monday morning. And I said about the gel tasting like cotton balls. Yeah. So you have a lot of cotton balls in your mouth to know that flavor. Um, I I had if you go to the dentist, at some point they put some kind of cotton thing in your mouth, usually to soak up the excess saliva when they're working on you. And that's how I know what the flavor is, Ken. So there. Corey offered up his services of using a car battery and some jump leads. That would have been good. And thank you for the well wishes, Jay Birch. Yeah, feeling better already. Just a little tired because we've been up early doing that, and can't wait to feel even better as I get some rest and get back to full go here in a couple days. And Jake brings in his sausages as always. So there we go. So that is kind of what's going on with me. I did want to touch on, and this is going to be a shorter show today, probably than other weeks, because I usually do a little bit of prep before the show. I've had no time to do that today, as I was at the hospital for most of the morning until about 45 minutes to an hour ago. So there's that. But I wanted to address, yesterday I talked about the WFP and a lot of comments in a negative fashion about the WFP. And I went on a little mini riff about that we've been bitching about the format of the season for so long, and that someone has come along to try to rectify that issue. And our first reaction is to bitch about that, or to, I think one of the things is like, everybody's talking about what may happen in 26 and 27. My God, we're not even through 25 yet. We've not given this organization an opportunity to prove anything to us, and we're already ripping them apart. And again, I have nothing against CrossFit. I'm going to support them just as much, but these people are coming in with a great idea and a season that makes sense. And I want to see it play out, and I want to see how well it does before I start ripping everything apart. And we had a couple comments on that yesterday that I do want to share. And so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about briefly. So here are some comments from yesterday's show. And I'm going to start with It's Wellness Girl. She says, I love Coffee Pods and Wads and Spin. And I do too, because I'm a member of both of those channels. The Spin I listen to every single week. If you're not listening to the Spin, you're not getting the news that's going on. So I'm a big fan of that. And I've known Peter. We started our podcast about 3 weeks apart from each other, and we've been friends ever since the start. And so super, super supportive of both those people. But she goes on to say, OG listening every episode, but I felt exactly the same as Scott on this. I have been reassuring myself that they are just trying to generate conversation and buzz by adding contradicting opinion. But I really felt their negativity stuck out painfully on both shows yesterday. At the end of the day, can we all just not get excited for more opportunities to watch these awesome humans compete? I understand why people don't want to be just yes men all the time, but right now, would a small bit of consensus and shared excitement be more beneficial for the community and betterment of CrossFit right now? So that is It's Wellness Girl. And then the Clooney's Adventures. I really wish I knew how to pronounce that. I'm going to just read this last line. Whether the WFP survives or not, the innovation that they are trying is a big win overall. Exactly. So those are kind of echoing what I talked about yesterday on the show. Um, for the first time ever, there is a fitness season where we have a very logical start and end date, or start and end, where you can tell a story. Tour event 1 earn points, tour event 2 earn points. Top 30 point getters go to the final to compete to see who are the top 20 to get their pro card, or who is the champion overall, if that's what you're more excited about. I think that makes a very linear, easy to tell story, um, that we have not gotten from CrossFit, and that we've been begging for about 8 years now. Ever since regionals went away, we have been begging for a linear story. Back when CrossFit first started and we had that open to regional to games, it made sense. It was linear. You, in your region, you were in the top 20, you got to go on to the super regional. Super regional, you're in the top 5, you moved on to the games. Super simple, super easy. And then in 2018, when Greg changed everything and we went to more this global concept, where every country had a representative, and we did sanctionals, we did all that kind of stuff. That's when things got really complicated. And ever since then, there's been no easy way to tell a friend of mine that it does not know about CrossFit what the season means, how to get to the end, or how we crown a champion. It just is impossible to tell. And we've been bitching about that ever since that point. And here we are today with an organization who is trying to meet those needs by having an easy story to tell, by giving the athletes an opportunity, and we're immediately discrediting it by little fact-finding missions about the future that may or may not be true. Like, everybody's saying there's this contradicting information. Everything Will has put out has been that we are not looking for exclusivity. One athlete goes on a podcast in Europe that we need AI to discern, and now Will's a liar because he's saying they're looking for exclusivity in 26. Will didn't say it. Victor Hoffer did, if the AI is correct. So I don't know. Jay Birch wants to know, so what does that say about the ecosystem? I think the ecosystem is, we have almost been conditioned to look for the negative in everything. So I think that whenever new stuff comes out, our first reaction is to find out what's wrong with it, instead of looking for the benefits of it or what could be good for the community about it. We look to tear it down first. So it looks very dysfunctional at this point. Are you talking about the WFP? If the WFP, if you listen to just the people in charge, does not seem dysfunctional to me. The where the dysfunction comes in is you have an athlete saying this or an athlete saying that who aren't organizers of this entity. They are just players in the game. And so we don't know what the truth is. All of that is rumor and speculation. The only thing that we can truly take to heart is what Will and Jackson have talked about on podcasts. And that's the bad thing about not releasing all the information at once and not understanding, because everybody's digging and looking for that additional information. And then you get, I heard this, I heard that. And then I think that adds confusion. I don't think it's dysfunction at all, but I'm just a little old guy in my basement in Ohio, watching this go by. And I seem to be in the minority um, by giving the benefit of the doubt. And so I don't I maybe I am naive. Maybe I just want something to work. Um, maybe I want something to push CrossFit to be better. We've been asking for them to be better about their organization for a long time on the sports side of things. And they have not answered that bell. So Ken says, according to Drunk Pedro, it's not very clear. Well, while I love the news that Drunk Pedro provides, and I find it humorous, and I watch every version of this. I have not seen today's yet, but I don't think it is. It does not contain journalistic integrity as a um, as a news source. Jay Birch says, "I'm with you, Scott. I would rather give it a go rather than poo-poo everything that comes along." And Corey Leonard says, maybe you just have a more positive outlook than most. It's it's probably that I have somewhat of a positive outlook. It's probably somewhat that I'm naive, and it's probably somewhat that I want something. I love covering the sport. I love what this methodology has done for me personally, and I love the sport itself and following it, and I want it to be successful. I just want it to be successful. And we've put all of our eggs in this one entity that we keep complaining isn't doing what we need it to do. And um and now we have this other organization, and according to TR, maybe a third organization, if Hiller is accurate, trying to put something together that makes sense and trying to answer all of the complaints that we've had. And the first thing we do is poo poo on it. And I just don't want to be that person. I want to be a person that like watches it play out, give it a good go, give it a shot, see what we have. And again, they're in year one. They can modify it, tweak it during year one for year two. Jay Birch says, "While I am personally a realist, my wife says I'm a pessimist. I would love to see the sport evolve. I would love that. More than anything, I want to see the sport evolve. I want more to talk about. I want the storylines that would come from what the WFP has put together would be so freaking cool. You have these 20 athletes that are known, that have their contract, that have their pro card, whatever you want to say. And then you have this group of people trying to be the 10 to take them down. I love that concept. And of course, if you followed this podcast at all, the 10 are where I'm interested. I want to know those 10. I want to know who those 10 are. I want to know what their plans are to and how they're going to get to the 20. That's what I find fascinating. Modification over time is a necessity. All pro sports go through modifications. There are rule changes every year in the NFL. There are rule changes every year in Major League Baseball. And those sports are 100 years old. They still modify every year, but they don't revamp every year like CrossFit has done over the past 5 to 6 years. Tweak, modify, good. Revamp every year, bad. So again, I didn't get a lot of prep time in for today. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I did watch the Notre Dame Georgia game yesterday. Notre Dame looked really, really good. It's been interesting seeing the SEC not do as well in this 12-team playoff as they have done in years past. I watched a little bit of Get Up right before I got on the air here. And they were talking about how the NIL and the transfer portal are changing things for the SEC, where they used to be able to stack their teams. Guys don't want to wait around because there's money that they can make if they go start at another school earlier, and it's making the backups not as good as they used to be, or the SEC schools not as deep as they used to be. And the only SEC school left in the competition is Texas, who was a Big 12 team last year. So they are brand new, spanking new to the SEC, which is crazy to me. We have the final week of the NFL this week, and there's still stuff to play for. So I'll be checking into all of that. And then we have college football playoffs at the end of next week. Thursday night is Penn State, Notre Dame. Friday is Ohio State and Texas. I think those are some pretty cool matchups. Of course, I'll be rooting for my Nittany Lions. And Penn State, Notre Dame, I mean, that takes me back to 1986, laying on my bedroom floor watching Penn State play Notre Dame every year in my bedroom, and rooting. Man, in the 80s, man, I rooted for Penn State and whoever played Notre Dame. So taking me back to those games, I hated Notre Dame back in the day. Ken Walters, Vikings fan. Wow, what an NFC North year. So Sunday night we're getting Vikes Lions, both teams 14-2. No two 14-win teams have faced each other in the regular season ever in the NFL. It's happening Sunday night. The winner of that game gets the NFC North, the number 1 seed, first round bye, home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and the other team is a wild card. And with 14 freaking wins, a wild card. That is insane. That game is going to be epic. I cannot wait to see that game Sunday night. But I will probably catch the second half because I'll be here live with Carolyn and Jamie on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. We're going to go over our workouts for the traveling gauntlet that we have come up with. If you have submitted your workout that you think would be good for the gauntlet, you'll go in the drawing to win one of our vessels for liquid. There's the water bottle, the Clydesdale Media water bottle. I don't know if you can, with the logo engraved in the side, or you can pick a coffee cup, the same color, same steel makeup, and the same etched in vessel. So we're going to go through those on Sunday night and see what you guys have come up with. Jeff J. Birch is going, go Horns. Corey Leonard, here's a question to ponder. If the Bengals decide to actually procure a defense, how scary will they be? That's a team that was in the Super Bowl, 3 years ago? And now, because of just a crappy defense, wow, they would be really scary, honestly. My wife is a Steelers fan, so I do not want that to happen, because when wife is unhappy, the house is unhappy. So I root for the Steelers unless they play the Bears, just to keep my wife happy. The over-under on the Vikes-Lions game is 59 points. I don't know if I've seen an NFL over-under that high before. Andrew Sten, who I am assuming is a Bengals fan since he lives in Cincinnati, says they would be very scary if they keep Chase and T. Man. Last week, T. Higgins was unstoppable, and that's because they were doubling Chase on every play, and T. Higgins went off. All I want for Christmas is an offensive line for the Chicago Bears. That's it. I hope they draft 5 offensive linemen this year and signed 3 in free agency. And out of the batch, we can get 5 good ones. And maybe sprinkle in a defensive lineman or 2 as well. But yeah, that Cincinnati team, like living here in Columbus, we are smack dab in the middle of Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. And we get all of that mess of the AFC North. And the Browns have problems. If you put the Browns defense with the Bengals offense, they would be unbeatable. But the Browns can't get out of their own way on offense, and the Bengals defense can't get out of their own way on defense. And it's lessening both teams. So, well, guys, as always, man, it's fun hanging out. I just wanted to do a quick update since I had the procedure this morning. Everything went well. We're back to sinus rhythm, and now I get to rest up on the weekend and get the house prepped for my wife, who's having surgery Monday morning to have a total knee replacement. And so she will become the focus of the house from that. And we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to jump on either Monday or Tuesday. I think her surgery is super early. We have to be there at like 6:15 in the morning. It's like an hour and a half to 2 hour surgery. And then she'll be in recovery and then to her room because she's spending the first night. I'll probably come home and rest for a little bit and get her some stuff. And so maybe I'll jump on for a short show on Monday or just to give you guys an update on how everything went with her and talk about anything that may pop up over the weekend. But again, wanted to hop on, let you know that everything went great with me this morning, back in sinus rhythm and ready to take on the world now in 2025 with all of you as my friends and the listeners that are so awesome to the show. Thank you so much, guys. We will be back. Hopefully, we will definitely be back Sunday night CrossFit Talk with Jamie and Carolyn. And then I'll hopefully be back on Monday with a lunch show for y'all. Until then, you guys are the best as always. See you soon.